Hey everybody, Shark Scrapper. Well, you may have recalled that I picked up these BTECH Battery Validation systems from a place that I was looking at as a possible new shark cage. So I thought I would dig into it and see what we got going here. First of all, 16 screws on the top. It's a nice heavy chunk of metal right there. And that reveals a very nice motherboard. There's another board underneath of that. We've got some power stuff going on back here. So let's get some cordage out of the way. I don't see any gold connector ends on these guys, so in they go. Depending upon your yard, you'll want to separate your cords appropriately. Data cord is frequently a better value at yards than some of the standard insulated copper wire. You just need to know your yard, right? So my yard is awesome. The yard that I sell my insulated copper wire to, they're awesome. I don't have to take off the connector ends unless I want to. I get the good price for them. So it saves me a ton of time, and for me, time is one of my. I mean, time is valuable for all of us, right? But when you're in the business of scrapping, time becomes really important. I mean, I got to crank through stuff. I don't have the time to spend micro scrapping every little thing that comes in, no matter how much I want to. That doesn't mean that micro scrapping is wrong. It just means, for me, I don't have the time to do it and stay on top of everything else that's coming in and out. All right, we've got this bar here and some screws on the side. I've got a bunch of screws along here for this board. Let's go ahead and see if we can get these out. And that looks like it's potentially stainless steel hardware. Let's see. Okay, you see how weak that is? So it kind of sticks to the magnet, but it doesn't always. And when it does stick to the magnet, it falls off very easily. That's stainless steel. Oops. Sorry about that. How's my big fat head in the way? And then let's see. So this is fun. When, you know, scrapping something new for the first time is always a lot of fun. Time consuming, but it's fun. Now those were clearly not stainless steel. Watch. See that? It just jumps right up on the magnet. So that's just clearly not stainless steel. Genesis Corporation. Bum, bum, bum. Sounds like one of those villainous companies trying to take over the world or something like that. All right, let's see. We've got, right? It's like, wasn't that the company that made RoboCop? Okay, that's another chunk of heavy steel. Got some nuts here holding this plate in place. We got some screws over there. Let's see if this board wants to come off. Check and see if that hardware is stainless. Yeah, see? Now one of the things too with stainless is there's a sheen to stainless that is just different from a lot of the regular ferrous. You'll get used to what that sheen looks like and it'll cue you up visually right away. But again, with hardware, with stainless steel hardware and stuff, it's still very important that you check it with a magnet, because it can also fool you many times, but it can't fool the magnet. Remember, not all stainless is non-magnetic. Some has a slight response to a magnet. And you also want to be careful. I think I noticed on one of these, yeah, there was a little washer. All right, so excuse me. So sometimes they'll use these little washers, lock washers, things like that. Those may not be stainless, or they might be stainless. And what can mess you up is, so that's clearly not stainless. And what can mess you up is, if that was on the screw, that might react to the magnet and lead you to believe that the screw was also not stainless. So you want to pay attention to that when you're culling out your material. All right, so we get this ribbon wire off of here. All right, this is a real nice board. We're going to take a little deeper dive look at this board, but you can see we've got some nice ICs, some flat packs. We have some daughter cards on here. The daughter cards themselves are actually higher grade than the board in its own right. So when you look at, for instance, that daughter card right there, well, right there by itself, that could almost be considered high grade, right? You've got gold-plated pins, you've got flat pack, you've got oscillator, you've got some gold Enig, you've got some ICs here. So you could legitimately chuck that in with high grade boards. Again, it depends on your yard and your buyer, how they would react to that. Definitely mid-grade, definitely mid-grade. Another example here. This daughter card by itself, very densely populated with high-grade type of components, flat packs, MLCCs, tantalums, gold-plated connectors. So, you know, again, by itself, oh, and look at that, I even got a gold-edged crystal oscillator. So by itself, a potential high-grade board, if your yard will let you throw those in with the high-grade boards. Otherwise, mid-grade. Battery has to come out. This is very nice gold plating on that switch. Okay. So there's some nice components on there. This is a mid-grade board, clearly. Certainly for my yard, this is a mid-grade board. All right, you can set that aside, get that battery off, and deal with that. Let's get back to the scrap, because we've got some more interesting boards down here. Ribbon wire. Again, my yard lets me put a little bit of ribbon wire in with my number 2. Ferrous. Got some more ribbon wire. Got another nice board down here. So nice board here. You've got a bunch of ICs. You've got some older style epoxy dip tantalum capacitors. A lot of gold pins. Nothing on the back. So mid-grade board. Let's see here. Interesting construction, how they've got this braced in, how all the stuff is braced in. Let's see if you're stainless. You're stainless. Now don't always assume that just because one brace was ferrous, the other ones are going to be ferrous. You know, the odds are that it probably will be, but I think we can all agree that, you know, there have been times when we took identical things apart and one thing was different than the other. Okay, lots of good stainless steel hardware on this system. I'll cut you. Okay. Some wire out of the way. Some more wire out of the way. Some more screws on these boards. Sorry about that. How's your ears? Oops. It helps if you're in the screw hole. Okay, so what are these guys? This is a board. This is a BTECH branded board, so it was made specifically for BTECH. Bunch of ICs here. Let's break into one of these and see what we're dealing with. What do you say? Oh, okay. Well, we like these guys. So, got ourselves a nice little switch here. We've got copper, silver connector down in there. Let's see if we can break that all the way off. Little chisel. Shop teacher is rolling over in his grave right now. There it is. All right, so nice switch here, and right down inside of there is a nice little silver contact. So, and then we know that's going to be a copper spool. So nice switch here. So we'll break these off. Probably. That came off relatively easy. So me's thinking that I'm going to break these off and go after the little silver contacts inside of there. That's my thought right now. But let's get them out of the way so we can get on with this scrap. What do you think about that? That's the immediate plan. All right. This has been a fun scrap so far. You know, it's, even though it takes more time, and time is a really limited quantity for me right now, it's so much fun to do these new things. Just happen to have my hammer there. All right, so we have a little fan motor. We'll just chuck that in the motor bucket. Same here, motor bucket. So we'll clip off the wire. And those fans are so small, I don't even need to worry about taking off the blades. If the blades were a little bigger, I'd take the blades off too. Let's get you out of the way. Screws. There we go. Problem solved. Shred steel case. Let's see what these guys were. Stainless, 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 not stainless. Okay. And a little tiny board here with some ICs. There's some screws here, and there's some MOSFETs there. I'll bet you those are MOSFETs, because look, you got a screw and you got 3 weld points there for each one. So I'll bet you those are MOSFETs there as well. There we go. Okay, so yeah, one of the MOSFETs broke off, but they're there. You can break these off to get the copper. That's, you know, these plates are probably copper plate, coated, tin coated plate, tin coated copper, maybe. I'm just going to leave them on though for the weight for this board, because this is clearly a mid-grade board. Maybe take off the tantalum there, these old epoxy tantalums, pull those off, pull off an IC, and then chuck this in with the mid-grade boards. Look at these guys. Those are pretty cool. All right, all you electronics geeks, you're out there, and you are much smarter at this stuff than I am. So let me know what these guys are. Let's see, how are they on there? All right, so these guys are riveted onto this steel board, and I'll get you a good close-up picture of the lettering. I'm thinking that these are some sort of loads, but let me know, those of you that are really smart about this stuff, let me know what these are. Low-grade board. Bunch of mid-grade stuff, bunch of switches. We had some daughter cards here that might be higher grade, and some nice components to pull off of all of these boards. Plus, let me do this right away before I forget. Last thing I want to do is accidentally take a battery into the yard. All right. That was fun. It's always fun to get some new stuff. If you like watching me scrap new stuff, there's a link that's going to pop up to take you to my Ewaste playlist, where you're going to see me scrap common computers, servers, unusual computers, old stuff, weird electronics, yeah, whatever shows up. That's in the e-waste category. Have a great day, everybody.